of his unbeaten pro career, 26 years old, the cousin to the former heavyweight titleist Tim Witherspoon, who lost to Larry Holmes back in '83 by split decision. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas with you in Midtown Manhattan, round number 5, scheduled for 10. Teddy Atlas's scorecard through the first 4 rounds. It is all even, 38-38. Jenkins clearly outworked him in rounds 2 and 3. And Witherspoon came back nicely in that 4th round. His most productive round so far. He had 34 connects in round number 4.
You know, I didn't like what I saw in Jenkins the last half of that round. Not punching, covering up, and falling forward. To me, it looked like the beginning of the end.
And remember how he started rounds 2 and 3, being much the aggressor and really going out and making a statement. Not how he came out here in round 5. Now just backing up, allowing Witherspoon to walk forward. He tries to fire off a sweeping left hand. Punches this round. You see Witherspoon outworking him. 24 thrown to 11, landing 10 to Jenkins 3.
And before, there's a subtle difference. Before, Jenkins was throwing meaningful punches, place punches, combinations that meant to land. The last couple punches he threw were desperate punches. Punches that had very little chance of landing.
Now Jenkins comes forward, able to place that left hand, but short right hands on the inside from Witherspoon. There's that right uppercut, but it was smothered just a bit. A right uppercut now from Jenkins.
Remember, there's a good side and a bad side to the offensive Jenkins. The good side, he's punching. He's looking to win. He's trying to do something positive and get Witherspoon on his back heels. The bad side of it is those punches are wide. Witherspoon can punch in between them. In other words, Jenkins gives up defense when he creates offense. And there's an opportunity right there that Witherspoon missed with the right hand in between a wide right hand of Jenkins.
So wide. You must feel that breeze from that right hand. And if Witherspoon could ever connect with Jenkins opening up with all that force, it's going to be a damaging blow.
See, Joe, when you go about the art of pugilism the correct way, you're not supposed to give up defense for offense. Witherspoon does. Or Jenkins, I should say, does. And then once again, as we talked in the prior round, Jenkins leaning forward. And again, leaving himself susceptible, I think, to a little step back by Witherspoon in an uppercut.
Jenkins fires off when he hears the clap here. Tries to put forth a good effort at the end of 5, the halfway point of the schedule 10.
One moment we were feeling spontaneous.
Surprise, I'm home.
The next we are happily interrupted.
This round, you can see Witherspoon on the inside now. If he would just step back and throw uppercuts, watch how this man leans forward all the way and leaves himself very susceptible to those punches. If Witherspoon starts throwing those uppercuts with the step back, he's got the step back down, Joe. But if he starts throwing the uppercuts, maybe he gets the knockout.
See if he can figure that out. Jabs his way in, uses a right hand here. Round 6 scheduled for 10. The unbeaten Chazz Witherspoon, 26 years old, 22-0. Average punches landed, and Jenkins first 4 rounds 22, last round 22, but Witherspoon picking up his pace, going up to 35 in that last round.
Well, Jenkins was like the month of March. Came in like a lion, but starting to go out like a lamb.
Gorgeous day here in New York today. Many New Yorkers looking for it to be a beautiful night. If their local Peter Quillen can get past the 3-time world title challenger Antoine Eccles, that is coming up in our main event. Very interesting main event. The young, unbeaten prospect who is yet to be tested against the veteran who has seen it all. There's a right uppercut, but once again didn't take that full step back to plant it. Witherspoon much more in control here as we get deeper into this fight. More punches landed in the first 2 minutes of round number 6 here by Witherspoon.
And as we touched on earlier, Witherspoon, he hasn't really been put in tough so far in his career. And you can't really say that tonight either, although he's getting rounds.
Good strong jab there from Chazz. Placed the right hand to the body.
Witherspoon, the former national amateur champion, you know, if you were to break him down and make an assessment of him, you'd say he's not great in one area, but he's fairly well-rounded fundamentally in a lot of areas.
End of 6 between these two.
Hey, baseball fans, Verizon Wireless is the only place to experience ESPN MVP. Sign up for VCast, free for 1 month.
Good main event coming up on Wednesday night fights. Unbeaten Peter Quillen taking on Antoine Eccles. He's 17-0, and he's got that sizzle. Also has that stake. He's focused on the end goal.
I'm young, I'm hungry, I'm fast, I'm strong, I'm beautiful, you know what I'm saying? But all the above comes along when you get a kid chocolate like me. And, you know, I find myself, you know, over these fights, I'm maturing a lot more. I understand what I can do and what I can't do. I understand that boxing is just not a sport like everybody think. For a fighter, it's a lifestyle. You got to live it outside the ring and inside the ring as well.
Peter Quillen coming up in our main event. This is round number 7. Scheduled for 10. Chazz Witherspoon is in the maroon trunks. He is the unbeaten heavyweight prospect at 22-0, taking on Domonic Jenkins. We noted earlier the similarity that he has with George Foreman, that he stands in between rounds rather than taking the stool. Of course, George Foreman has all the sons named George. Well, interesting names of the 3 sons for Chazz Witherspoon. He has King Witherspoon, named after Martin Luther King, Messiah Witherspoon, and his youngest, Tsar Witherspoon, as in the Russian rulers of yesteryears. In round 6, Witherspoon nearly tripled Jenkins' output. He threw 92 punches. Jenkins' work rate dipped all the way down to 31.
I still think that Jenkins in some ways is putting himself on a silver platter for Witherspoon's uppercut if he would take a step back and throw it.
Right hand from Witherspoon. Jenkins now absorbing a lot. There's a looping right hand that was able to score from Jenkins.
And it scored because Witherspoon admired his work. Landed a couple uppercuts and then took a picture. Supposed to move after your last punch.
2 uppercuts there. The left started it from Witherspoon. Uppercut from Jenkins. Every so often he shows you that he's still willing, but Witherspoon has been controlling this fight from the 4th round onward.
If Witherspoon would put his foot on the gas pedal, let those punches go for a sustained period, for say a half a mile instead of a 3-block distance, good chance he gets rid of Jenkins.
4 straight right hands from Witherspoon moments ago. Right lead from Witherspoon.
You know, we've been talking so much about the uppercuts, or I have been at least, being available for Witherspoon if he steps back and throws it at Jenkins. I've forgotten about the body work. Witherspoon has not gone to the body as much as he should have with the smaller man.
We'll check those body punch numbers when we return. In New York, and this Sunday, NASCAR on ESPN from Mexico City. The Sprint Cup on an off weekend, so NASCAR's top guns look to tame a 2.5-mile road course at Mexico City. It's the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Mexico City, presented by Kawasaki on ESPN. Sunday afternoon, and coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at 1:30 Eastern. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas here on Wednesday night fights. We also invite you to join us for Friday night fights this week from Miami, Oklahoma. We will have a heavyweight main event there. Terry Smith and Kevin Johnson. You talked about the lack of production going to the body at the end of that last round. Well, Teddy, the numbers back it up. He has only thrown 32 body punches, has Witherspoon, through 7 rounds.
And I think that is really missing an opportunity. Witherspoon not going to the body of the smaller Jenkins.
Teddy's scorecard has it 68-65 for the unbeaten Chazz Witherspoon. They split the first 4 rounds, but then he swept rounds 5, 6, and 7.
And it's a body that's available. It's not only a smaller body of Jenkins, but he leaves it available. He covers up, doesn't hide it. All you have to do is either go around the elbows or inside the elbows. Just change the direction of your punches depending on where those arms are. But the most important thing is Jenkins does not use his legs. He's available for body work.
Break, don't punch, don't punch.
Chazz Witherspoon, academic scholarship to St. Joe's University, graduated with a pharmaceutical marketing degree from St. Joe's, but turned his career to the ring. Cousin of former heavyweight titleist Tim Witherspoon. Beat Greg Page for a belt back in '84. Lost that belt to Pinklin Thomas back in 1984. That's a blast from the past. Pinklin Thomas, former Mike Tyson knockout victim. Now Witherspoon with a series of rights and lefts, and Jenkins falls forward with an uppercut. Jenkins 2.5 years removed from his best win. That was a decision against the former National Golden Glove champ Malcolm Tan. And he's coming off a November win against Jason Gavin. But for the most part, when he fights the guy who's a heavyweight prospect supposedly headed north, he is dismissed. But he is staying in there with Witherspoon. Teddy, you said it flat out at the beginning of this fight, that the standard is set. The goal for Witherspoon is to get rid of Jenkins, and he must do that to be considered what he wants to be considered.
I think so in my eye, and I think in the eye of some boxing people. Right now, Jenkins showing plenty of gamesmanship, but doing just enough to lose.
And early on, we were describing Jenkins as an opponent. Many times, that is the very definition of an opponent. The guy who puts forth an effort, but does just enough to lose. 2 rounds to go. In our heavyweight co-feature, Domonic Jenkins had a surge in round number 3, but then Witherspoon settled in, Teddy.
Yeah, Witherspoon, the bigger man, the undefeated man, started thinking, I want to keep that 0 at the end of my record. Started taking little steps back, creating holes, and then going forward and creating holes. And the uppercut has been there throughout the night for him.
Chazz Witherspoon, Domonic Jenkins, 6 minutes to go. And remember, Teddy said that for Chazz Witherspoon to be considered a prospect to watch, a guy headed up these ranks of the heavyweight division, he should be able to get rid of Domonic Jenkins. Well, if that's the case, the clock is counting down. Let's see if he can do it. Domonic Jenkins has been stopped 4 times.